Keir Starmer's Labour Party have, like, let me cast your mind back, right? Cast your mind back about 6 weeks when there were those reports of Elon Musk donating $100 million to Reform's coffers. And everyone was like, what are you going to do about that? You know, are you going to put protections in place? Are you going to stop a foreign billionaire from, you know, distorting the UK political process with his billions? Are you going to, is there any protections? And Labour's response to that was, of course, no. No. We're not going to restrict anyone. We're just going to stand here with our fucking dicks in our hands and we're going to let people like Elon Musk walk all over us. We will beat Reform at the dispatch box, is what they said. We'll beat Reform in a battle of ideas by debating with them. Now, spool forward to where are we now? February the 11th at time of recording. Spool forward to today. And their battling of ideas, them debating Reform's ideas, appears to extend to aping Reform's branding and colours, turquoise and black colours, on a Facebook advert campaign. They're putting out Home Office government messaging, pro-Labour messaging out on Facebook, but in Reform's branding. To appeal, that's how they're fighting Reform and Reform's ideas. Is they're basically going to become Reform. Is I think the approach. I mean, personally, I give it about 2 weeks until Keir Starmer comes out front and centre, begging us all to take debanking seriously. That's going to be his new policy next week or the week after. Why is debanking suddenly such a? Because Nigel said so. Because Nigel said that it should be, guys. We've got to beat him in the battle of ideas by taking all of his ideas, guys. In order to defeat Reform, I must become Reform. So 6 weeks ago, it was, we'll beat them in the dispatch box at the debate table because there's enough of a difference between the two of us. Now it is, we're just going to beat them. It's just so much easier. I mean, technically, we have sort of won a fight, haven't we? If we've diffused a fight, there was going to be a fight. But then we just took their idea, we're just going to become Reform, so there's no fight, and we're still in power. So technically, I mean, it's sort of like winning. It's sort of like beating them, just in a very, supine, ultra-cowardly fashion that betrays all of our principles. And this rebranding, this turquoise and black nonsense, that has been followed today. I don't know if you've seen this policy. It only just dropped a bit earlier today. The Home Office have decided to table a policy in which refugees, asylum seekers who come here and are confirmed refugee status, they are allowed to stay here. They're given indefinite leave to remain after a certain number of years. But the Home Office are now tabling an idea where they will prohibit anyone that enters the UK in that fashion from ever becoming a British citizen. Never. You're never going to be British, according to Yvette Cooper in the Labour Party's Home Office. So, yeah. How are we feeling? How are we feeling about the change that we voted for, guys? I mean, the thing that always gets me with this sort of stuff. So, like, there's been the Reform branding. There was a thing in the Mail. You can see it here. Keir Starmer backs deportation of Albanian migrant allowed to stay in Britain because his son doesn't like foreign chicken nuggets. Like, this is a story that was on the front page of the Telegraph, and it was immediately like investigated trash. It's not real. It's not a real story. The chicken nugget thing. It was one thing that was highlighted by the guy's lawyers. Like, look, there is this thing, but also there's this other like cacophony, this other chorus of reasons why this child and this father shouldn't be sent back to Albania. Now, you may agree or disagree with them, but to pretend that chicken nuggets are the reason that this child is not... It's a child, by the way. That this child is not allowed to be sent back to Albania is disingenuous. It's rubbish. It's trash. It's tabloid nonsense. So we've got the reform branding. We've got Keir Starmer backing up deporting people based on chicken nuggets. And then we got the Home Office disallowing indefinite leave to remain, like former refugee visas from ever becoming British citizens. Like all of these policies, all of these ideas, these narratives, these headlines are all being presented to us to what? To curry favour with reform voters, with Tory voters, and not just like centre-right conservatives with a small c. This is the hard right. This is the far right that you're appealing to with this stuff. And this is what gets me. It's like, I think there was a statistic in The Guardian over the weekend that said, yes, 1 in 10 families in northern mining towns in the Red Wall, 1 in 10 are thinking about leaving Labour for reform. That was a thing that was being bandied about. Yes, that is true. But the point that this Guardian piece so eloquently made was that still leaves like 8 or 9 out of 10. Even if you have like 2 or 3 that don't know, it's still like the majority of them. The huge chunk of those people are still wanting Labour and have no interest in reform. Like, if you look at the stats, if you look at how people voted, not just in the last general election, but also today in terms of like Westminster voting intention, yes, reform have gained a bit of ground, but it's not really from Labour. It's like eating into more of the Conservative Party. Like, if you add up reform and the Tories together, guess what? You come back out again at about 47%. If you add Lib Dems, Green, and Labour together, guess what? You come out again at about 47, 48%. So it's like, who are these policies for? Who do you think you're winning over? Because I can guarantee you, like, if you win over like 2%, 2 points of reform voters, reform supporters, if you convince 1%, 2% of reform supporters to come back to Labour, because now Labour take immigration really seriously, guys, at least as serious as when Ed Miliband pretended to take immigration really seriously with his little red mugs. Labour, tough on immigration. If you manage to convince like 1 or 2% people to come back to Labour, like, what does Keir Starmer, what does Yvette Cooper, what does Morgan McSweeney, chief strategist of the Labour Party, of the Labour government, what does he think adverts like this, policies like this, narratives like this, what does he think that's going to do to people like me? Because I can guarantee you, like, I voted Labour at the last general election tactically to get rid of the Tories, but it was specifically, explicitly to get rid of stuff like this, to get rid of this obsession over net migration figures, and to align with this projected, this aspiration for growth, which I understand is necessary in order to fund public services, right? So if we can vote for change, if anybody even remembers that from the campaign, if we can vote for change and depart from this obsession with net migration figures, maybe we could get some immigrants in and we might actually reapproach growth. Absolutely wild idea, I know. But when I see adverts like this, when I hear like policies, cruel, mean-spirited, ignorant policies being tabled by the Labour government, I have to ask why. I'm like, what happened to beating reform at the dispatch box? What happened to change?
Just another video with Adrian Thom.